Show called Truth Talk Live, essentially. So ready I am.
I am ready.
So here we are, the afternoon, the second day of the NRB. I guess we're about halfway there. I am so blessed to have with me again. Actually, I think last year was the first time we talked.
I
don't know if your logo's new. I don't remember it from last year, but it's Ner Solomon with, I guess it's called Ifrah. And so there's a logo. It's got a mother and a baby. And you may not be aware how important well, you probably are aware of how important, but you may not know how important it is to Israel to protect their youth from abortion and that kind of thing. So, Ner, what do we got going this year?
Yeah, so actually the logo's been the same.
Okay.
A little bit transitioning, but we want to make clear that really who we are servicing is first and foremost the amazing women out there. They really would like to choose life, but unfortunately a lot of times when they're pressured financially, emotionally, sometimes they feel that they don't have a choice. So in Israel, we are that choice. We help over 3,500 women every year have their children, despite the fact that they came into the journey with us being abortion-minded, because they felt they had no other choice but to terminate their pregnancy. So that's what Ifrat does. In about 50 years, we've saved 90,000 babies in the land of Israel, which today is already a significant, such a significant number that's already a percentage of the population, which is just absolutely overwhelming. So that's what we do.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And so, Ifrat, what does that mean in Hebrew?
So Ifrat actually means to be fruitful. So our sages gave Miriam, Moses' sister, the name Ifrat because Moses' sister was the quintessential midwife and inspiration for women to have babies. As I'm sure everybody knows, Pharaoh had a terrible decree that all the Jewish-born males will need to be killed and thrown into the Nile River. Comes along Miriam and says, well, there is a king out there, his name is Pharaoh, he decreed on the boys, but there is a king of kings, and the king of kings could actually make sure that none of those decrees happen. And he inspired the women and the men to continue to procreate. In the least bit, the women are going to be saved, the girls that are going to be born, but God must have a plan also for the boys, and she was correct. One of those boys was Moses, her own brother, who ended up delivering the Jewish people out of Egypt with God's hand and God's direction. So that's where the name Ifrat comes from, after our amazing, amazing woman Miriam in the Bible.
Right, the first prophet.
Correct?
I understand.
Correct.
And so when you say Ifrat, I thought you were going to talk about Rachel and, some of it, but that's not the same Ifrat, apparently.
No. Look, all of the foremothers really had issues with childbirth. We know that every child that is destined to come into this world, once it's sowed into the mother's womb, then the truth is, this is God's decision. It's not so easy to become pregnant. It's God who ordains it. A lot of times in the pro-life movement, everybody talks about the innocent unborn. I like to use the word the chosen unborn, because God chose that unborn child to actually come into this world. He ordained that child to come into this world. So that's what the process is about, is to help make sure that every woman is not pressured. Once she's not pressured to have an abortion, she usually chooses to have a child, and that's what we do.
So you said something interesting at the very beginning. Yes, you said that most of the women that came to Ifrat come there abortion-free.
Correct. They don't necessarily come themselves, right? So we might, in Israel, we have volunteers in every single neighborhood in the country. So somebody might have heard that, so-and-so is contemplating abortion, and you must speak with them. We send a volunteer many times with their own child that they thought of aborting, and says to her, listen, what's your name? Is your name Donna? Is your name Sarah? What's putting you under so much stress? Trust me, I was there. I also thought about an abortion. Ifrat helped me out, and here I am today with a beautiful child. that sparks an interest in these women. And at the end of the day, we actually come in and we say, well, if it's financially driven, take away all of those concerns. So when a baby's born, we provide a carriage, a baby bed, clothing, diapers, baby formula for 24 months after the baby's born. So we alleviate all of that pressure.
Really?
Yes. You can read about us at israelbabies.com. All of these miraculous stories. All we needed to do is come in and tell them, don't be pressured into choosing an abortion. If it's financially driven, we're there. If it's emotional, we'll give you counseling. Just make your own real choice.
It's fascinating because I've interviewed in this country. We have an organization called Let Them Live.
Yes,
Do you know that?
absolutely.
Same idea.
Very
That
similar.
financial issue should not be an issue.
Yes.
When it comes to the life of someone.
Let Them Live is an amazing organization. A real shout out to them. They're doing very similar work. It's a very similar pitch to really just calm the women down. Women are programmed to be mothers. The Western world could try to cloud differences between men and women. There are tremendous differences. One of them is women are physically coded to be mothers, and they feel it themselves. They feel the baby growing in their midst. You just have to be sure that they're not pressured.
Yeah, and therein lies the whole being. And so when you say many don't come there, from your standpoint, are other people bringing them sort of against their will to that front?
Never against their will, but it's not necessarily they're super interested to talk to us. I'll share with you one amazing story. During the war, now in Israel, a woman came up to us and told us of a miraculous story. So it starts with education. So she said she was 43 years old. She had 3 children. The youngest was 17. She's divorced of the father of those 3 children and in a loving new relationship with a wonderful man. She used contraceptives, but she became pregnant. And now she said, wait a second, I'm empty nesting, I want to go travel the world. She picks up the phone to schedule an abortion. She's 43 years old. And she realizes that when she was 16 years old, she heard a lecture about the development of the fetus. She says, oh, I can't go ahead and do this abortion. She closes the phone. It happens again 3 days later. She says, forget about this 16 years old developing the fetus business. I have to have an abortion. She calls, picks up the phone to call the abortion clinic, the same classroom. She closes the phone and she starts praying to God. And she said, God, show me a sign. She goes to a very holy site in northern Israel. And she says, God, please send me a sign that I can have this abortion. As she leaves this holy site with her boyfriend, with her partner, they walk down to the street, and crossing the street is a bus with a huge sign of our organization in front. She says, oh, come on. That's not the sign I wanted. I wanted a sign to terminate the pregnancy. And all of a sudden, she decided to go ahead and keep the child because she saw that as a sign from God to carry the baby to term. The baby was born, a beautiful baby boy. She wasn't happy because she wanted to travel the world. However, a year and a half after this baby's born, we got very, very closely connected with her second child. She's a girl. She woke up on October 7th, finding out that her daughter, the second child, was kidnapped by the savage Hamas murderers. For 10 days, she did not know what to do, and she was told by the Israeli government 10 days later that her daughter was murdered on October 7th. Her daughter's name was Moriah. And she says then all she wanted to do was to go under the blankets and die. And then she realized, wait a second, I can't commit suicide, I can't die, I have a young child to take care of. My boy, who's now a little boy, who I didn't want initially, he's alive, I have to take care of him. And all of a sudden she says, even though I didn't want the child, even though I wanted a sign from God not to have the child, now I realize God sent me this child not so that I save his life, but that so he saves my life. And she says to me, I'm alive today because I made the choice to keep this pregnancy and have this child born. Not only is he alive, but so am I. So we need to tell women, and that's her message to me. We need to tell women that children are a blessing, and all those that are pressuring us against it, have an abortion, go travel the world, have a great time. She says, I might have traveled the world, had a great time, and I probably wouldn't be here today if that child didn't.
Right, Efrat, and it comes back to that love. It's about the mother, but it's about the child. And the whole idea of being God bless you there. I wanted to suggest you see you again and keep up the great work. How do people reach Efrat if they're interested?
So go very simple, israelbabies.com. Go onto the website. You can help participate in bringing more life. For whatever amount you can contribute, but at least contribute something. Get on our mailing list and enjoy all the wonderful, miraculous stories that are happening in the land of Israel.
IsraelBabies.com. Awesome. Great story. Wow. You didn't share that last year.
You know that.
I know.
Amazing. A lot has happened since last year, unfortunately. Do you do Israel stuff on your channel?
All the participants.
Yeah.
A lot. I know. It's blessed that you got a consensus people all the time, all sorts of businesses. I did Magen David Adam every year I do them, and then there's lots of folks that speak out that are helping provide stuff for the war, all those different things. That's hard at work.
Amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I would love a picture with us like this if you would. Let me ask somebody.
Okay. Colleen, could you take a picture?
Can you take a picture of the two of us?
Mike, do you know, am I doing True Talk Live today?
I haven't seen him yet.
And if there are any guests lined up?
Yes, Rob Pazienza and somebody else. Can't remember the
Rob
somebody
is a
else.
good guy. You interviewed him before? Rob Pazienza from Coral Ridge. He's a good guy.
Check it, make sure it's got.
Is he the new?
Yes. You know what? Another one. I think my eyes were a little bit focused. Can you get another one?
Yeah, I met him last year. I've never interviewed him too, so I guess I'll get my chance.
He's a great guy. He actually, the original pastor, Dr. Kennedy,
Yeah.
did you ever interview him? So he was impressive. I actually met slot to meet, 5 minutes. We ended up meeting for 45 minutes. He tried for 42 minutes to convert me to Christianity. Didn't succeed, and then we spoke, but then he became ill shortly thereafter and passed away. So,
Wow.
anyway, a real pleasure. You come and visit us?
Yes, coming in May.
I would love it. First I'll take my, you have my card. I gave you my right there.
I got it.
I would love it if you reach out and come and do a visit by us.
I will.
We have a warehouse where we pack over 3,500 boxes every month all across Israel. I'm sure you'd have a good time.
I'm sure I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's some lady who I just bought a pass for named Tatiana, something from Ukraine. She claims that Stu said he would get her a pass, and so she's very forward. And it's like, Stu said he would interview me, and Stu, whatever. If she comes down here, she was promising nothing, and I told her, I don't think so. We're not going to be able to help you. I bought her a pass just to get her out of my hair. But she was she was interfering and interrupting in rooms. So, middle-aged lady named Tatiana from Ukraine, just letting you know, she would come blowing in here and just making bold claims because I think she stayed at the big house with Stu once 15 or 20 years ago.
That makes sense.
Just wanted to warn you.
It's actually in the acknowledgements.
Are you next?
Steve Rocket.
Oh, Steve, nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet
sir.
you. How are you?
I'm good. You have a book?
You have a book? And you need a card?
A Year in the Room. Oh, I like
Year in the Room.
it. Provocative looking cover. Let's see this.
So just put these over?
Yes, please.
This is
Yeah, you like in it.
like this.
Oh, right. Yeah, you can hear each other.
How you guys doing? Noise in the room.
Bees make it.
But still, I mean, people I think open minded.
Yeah, oh, yeah, all the time. Well, have fun. We get to sit here at the NRB and meet all sorts of amazing folks. We're on the floor, second day of the National Interest Broadcasters Convention in Dallas this year. And sitting in front of me is a very intriguing man, Stephen Rogers. It says a year in the room with a chair. Just a chair. How cool, Steve? A year in the room. What do we got?
Well, A Year in the Room is actually the second book in the series. It can be read independently. It's the second book. And
Is that a day in the room?
no, the first one was called Into the Room.
Oh, into the room.
And my main character is a guy named Wayne Cahill, and he is in recovery. Or he was an alcoholic, and my books are about his trip to redemption with God. And to set this book, A Year in the Room, is his first year of actual work trying to recover from alcoholism and put his life back together. And the reason for the chair is, you find this out really early, so this is no spoiler. He finds himself in this little single room, almost like a glorified dorm room at a church. And like the chair in there is from the 1970s, and everything's old. And that's where he starts putting his life back together. And there's a double meaning to it, because Into the Room is about him stepping into the room with God. So now he spends a year in the room with God. And those two things. That's what it's called.
Beautiful idea, right? I mean, who would want that? To come into a room and God be sitting there. So is God in the chair?
No one's in that chair in that picture, and he sits in it at some point during the room. That's just supposed to be the room that he's in, but there's other things that happen in the room too.
I can't help but ask this question. Sure. Because I've noticed this many times that God, while comforts us, that we might comfort others, those with the comfort. So, is that to an extent your story?
I am not an alcoholic or a dad. However, in my life and with my wife, I say we're surrounded by two of our children, in-laws, various in-law relatives, my niece, my husband, and all of that. And so we lived through it as the observers, and we had impacts on us and had to do it also. And our recovery from that, part of my recovery from that, how about that, was writing books. It really changed me to write that book and to really work with an alcoholic, work with an alcoholic and then take them. And I think people that truly recovery from alcohol or drug addiction have accomplished as much or more than anybody who walks the And so I admire the character of the story, even though at some points in the story, he's there.
So, like all of us, are probably
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like all of us, at some point in time, he comes to his senses.
Yes.
Interesting. The room was there all.
Interesting. He was there in the back, and he, through the help of others, because I don't believe people do their journey alone. There's always a point where it's just you and God. There's a bunch of people that get you that. Through the help of others, he started to take this step. That's the best way for me to say it. And step into that room where it's just him.
That's beautiful. So, this Into the Room was your first one.
Yeah.
So, how did God get you into the room of writing a book?
Well, that's a great story. I retired from my corporate life at age 55 to try to satisfy my dream of being a publisher.
Really?
Yes, and I was literally trying to be Stephen King. I'm a former accountant. I'm doing the math. He's up there in age, so I'm just going to have to step into the job. And I was writing really violent, crazy stuff. And my wife and I took a trip to Israel. And on the flight over, I had this idea. I said to myself, I wonder what would happen if I was an alcoholic, I'd just been sprung from rehab, and I had to take this particular. And I invented my character, Ben Cahill, on that within 10 minutes of that time. And then when I was in Israel, I journaled it. And when I got back, this will give you some really cool insight into my wife. When I got back, my wife said, "What are you doing here?" I mean, she's always seen me journal. I'm all right. But I told her, and she said, "Well, you might have a book there." And I said, "Well, that's not my genre." Now, if you knew my wife, she would never say it like I'm going to say it. What she said was, "You're not published yet, you don't have a genre." And so I ended up switching and going into the Christian fiction, and I converted that trip into the first book. And it's called Into the Room and A Year in the Room. My view of it being evangelical is I really can't go to you and say, you need to get with God and you need to work on it. Right? What I can do is maybe you see the way I behave or how I live, and you ask questions, and I can maybe help you step into that room with God, and then God will work out whatever He wants to work out for you. That's my view of evangelism. So that's why I had that concept.
So, as you now know, that writing a book is a journey.
Yes, it is.
Publishing a book is a bigger journey in its own way, right?
It is.
And then comes the strange, I can imagine hearing other people's I think it's a quite difficult thing for most authors is then to publicize. How do I get people to find out about my book? How do I get people to read this book? And I've got to throw myself out there. And so, how is that process?
Well, first off, it's fun. And I mean, like what we're doing here, I absolutely love this. I love public speaking, so if people want to put me in front of them, I'm a weird person, but I love public speaking. What I have done, and I'm traditionally published by it's not small, but it's not huge publishing company. And they help a little bit with the public, but it really falls to the author. And so what I try to do is, you do social media, you do all that, but I try to make 5 contacts, whatever it is, a civic organization, a church group, a book club, and just see where it takes me. And, I'm here, I call this a convention with Big Sway. Here I've just been giving out books like candy, fish all over, and just to try to get people in. And I'm fortunate in the sense that financially I don't need the book to eat. Right. And so I have the luxury of marketing as best I can. If something hits, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And my dream, I can tell you my dream, is if I ever got big as an author, my dream is that I would use the money to start a foundation called the Books for Hope. And that would be used to promote literacy, whatever. That's my dream. And my little LLC where all my books are going to Books for Hope LLC. So that's my grand plan.
Again, God blesses it. It grows. And it's always wild, which ones is God going to get behind? Right. How long is the first book?
The first book came out in 21, May of 21.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it was really. And the second, the book, A Year in the Room, came out October last year. I didn't really start pushing it until November, but it's officially published October.
So, how long did it take to write the second book?
It was a 3-year process. And the first book flowed easy. I think from what I hear, the second book is better written, which makes sense. But the first book just flowed. The second book, we had a good time together.
And so, as you took off other projects for the second book, God probably had a surprise.
I'd say that the biggest surprise in the second book was because the first book took place in Israel. I love writing about the addiction and recovery and all that, but there's also a travel book. you take a tour of Israel. And I was told by publisher and readers that there has to be a travel piece in the second book. So where am I going to take Ben in the second book that fits here? And I had this idea to do the El Camino Trail. But there's so many books about El Camino, I come up with nothing. And so this is the surprising thing, is my pastor at church, I was discussing this with her, and she said, why don't you go to Iona, which is a little pilgrimage island off of Scotland, and they're Hebrides Island. And I'm like, okay, I'll look into it. And my wife, who's still my wife now, but at the time she was working at REI. And 2 weeks later, this pastor from downtown Richmond where I live came in, and he was going on a tour by us. And she sends me a text. She says, "This guy's buying shoes for Iona," and I'm like, "Okay, that's enough. That's the surprise." And so that was the surprise that I took. We went to Iona for a week, and all the big pivotal scenes in the book happened there. And we hiked. It's a great place. It's a pilgrimage place. It's a long spiritual place. Yeah, and just a fantastic. I mean, it's just a rock. You know, and you can, if you want to, you can actually hold it in a day. They have an official pilgrimage book. It's amazing.
It's sort of a year in the womb of Iconic.
Yeah. Well, half of the book takes, a year in the womb takes place in Richmond. Yeah.
Again, the book, A Year in the Room, is the second edition from Stephen Rogers. If you go to Amazon, Stephen Rogers.
There is. It's there.
By all means, get the book and then send a review.
Send a review and reach out to me through my website if you would like to talk about it. Stephen-Rogers.com.
Yeah, I know that would be really fun. You read the book and now you want to talk to the guy that.
And I love talking to people about my book.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Very interesting.
Did I do okay?
You did awesome.
Do you mind? Can we get a picture too? And I'm sure you're okay with social media and all that. Okay. Just want to make sure. I always check because you never know, right? Yeah. I look like a goofball. I look like a goofball.
They all do.
Yeah.
You look like a radio.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
and please keep the book too. Thank you. And, anytime you want to be in touch.
Well, we'll get you on another show.
Well,
Since
you need
you're
to come.
we have a station there. We need to make sure we get you.
Yeah, I would love it. I appreciate it. Thanks again. It was great.
Hello.
How are you,
How are
sir?
you? So good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Christian car guy. Love it. Love it.
you. Especially since there's Christian right on your.
Exactly. Yeah, that's perfect. So when it says you're a Christian car guy, does it mean that you are a car guy, or do you do stuff in a car? Tell me. I want to know more
That'll
about
be
that.
easier.
Yeah.
Have you got a card or something that?
Yes, I do. 100%.
that would help? Christian Car Guy is a radio show that I've done for like 18 years.
Amazing.
And so my father's in the car business before me. I was in the car business for 40 years. God called me to do a radio show. It's called the Christian Car Guy Show.
Wow.
And that changed my life in a lot of ways. It just went on radio.
Yeah. No, I was doing some research on that. You do a boot camp? I was on your so what or your website. What involved this boot camp?
Have you ever heard of John Eldridge, Wild at Heart?
Wild at Heart is incredible. Yes, I love that.
But he does boot camps in Colorado that are based on Wild at Heart. And that whole book, we do because a lot of us have been very involved with John Eldridge for years. We do those same boot camp experiences that he does in Colorado. We do in New York.
Yeah. After reading that, that's so cool. After reading that book, it made me so glad that it made me like excited to continue to be here. You know,
Right,
like,
right.
man, I think it's good rules.
We do.
Yeah.
So miracle principle.
Miracle on the precipice. Sorry.
Good, if I could read, miracle
I
on
got something that's a little bigger for you. How about this? There we go.
And your name is
Nathan Gamble.
so Nathan Gamble.
Like the addiction. Yep.
And, all right, well, this will be fun.
Yeah. Let's do this thing.
Yes, we would love for you to have experience that. If you love the book, you would more than love the book.
Oh my gosh, it's such awesome. It's such great. My old RA in Bible college, good buddy of mine. I was reading a whole bunch of books at the time. Set aside good books. Pick this one up. I couldn't put it down. Actually, once I picked it up, I could not put it down.
That's
Yeah.
all right. Here we go. So, how fun here at the Natural Broadcasters Convention. One person after the other God's got a hold of, and now we got a young man in front of us. Is Nathan Gamble. His ministry, Miracle on the Precipice. So,
Yes.
Nathan, what's a Miracle on the Precipice?
Let me tell you all about it. Okay, so it is a movie. It is a modernized, it's not exactly retelling, but inspired by the book Over Tomorrow. It's coming out later this year. It stars me and Sean Patrick Flanery. It's sort of both dead and an incredible cast. The director, so the writer of the movie is an amazing man of God who felt like he really placed the story in his heart. He filmed it last year at Richmond, Virginia, and I think it's going to impact a lot of people, both believe it or not.
Wow. I'm looking at the picture. Yeah, that is
That is me. Yes.
right there. You say in
Lynchburg, Virginia. Yep.
many of my good friends live in Lynchburg. We have a station in Lynchburg.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It wasn't particular. Many people are in this group that are sharing with you right now. Of course, I've also had a many times I've interviewed Kevin. Been involved with so many different projects that I ended up being involved with. So really amazing. So how did you get involved?
Great question. Well, I've been an actor since I was 7 years old. So about 20 years now. My first movie I ever did was a movie called Babel, with my son. I missed. But the entire time I've been in all these projects, I was not a not saying that my parents were. They dragged me to church every Sunday against my will, like good parents should. But I did. It wasn't a mistake at all. I was reading comics and the cues while they were listening to a sermon. Never really stuck. Second-hand revelation. I maybe believed in it, but it was not my personal relationship with God. And I moved out when I was 18, lived in Hollywood, was working a ton, various shows, but was incredibly lonely, depressed, isolated. My life. Out of the blue, not out of the blue, was behind intervention. A random text from a dean of a Bible college, 15 years ago, saying, "Hey dude, I know you have no idea who I am. You should come to this Bible college." And he's still a friend of I don't come down. He said, "No way." But he said, "All right, just come out and just like hang out for a day." No, I like the beach. Sure. So I went and met all these people. They had something I never experienced before. Something that the world had not offered. The Spirit, it really was the love and the joy and the fruit of the Spirit. But I didn't know what that was at the time, but I knew it was something else, something like it was a peace, it was a contentment. They looked like they didn't have life struggle. They had some sort of genuine times to religion that I had never seen. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm something. So I went to the Bible college. I just wanted to know what they had, what kind of special sauce they had. special, whatever Kool-Aid. I'm like, all right, I'll take a sip of that. I was ready to learn, and then my hands up very person. The karaoke thing we do with the lyrics of the screen. And then about a week into it, the Lord just started to touch my soul and my spirit. Never been the same. It was 8 years ago, and now I want to make content for the world that is entertaining, first and foremost, to shows the connection and love of the Holy Spirit. Brings people, whether it be for one or another.
That's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a really, really cool story, but it kind of leads you to the, when you get to everything about how you like to live Robert.
Yeah.
You might remember there's a section in there, or an idea behind the poster, and that so many people wear a mask.
Yep. Yeah.
And as actors, that's kind of your profession.
I get paid to wear a mask. I get paid to lie with props in my hand. You know? I get that.
Right. So and again, your parents had you cast into one of your characters. It sounds like this. You said they had you.
Yeah. Externally, everyone would probably think that Nathan Campbell's got it going on. Internally, I was having my own, battles and struggles with faith and not even application of it tangibly in my life. It was all head stuff, but it wasn't actually sinking into me.
So a dolphin tale, if I'm picturing the right movie, that was a Christian. Dave?
No, it was definitely a hopeful movie. Like it definitely had, in my opinion, biblical principles, whether the director was aware of it or not. Looking back on it, it's a movie for kids, a movie for families. It's basically a true story about a dolphin that crab trap.
I saw the movie.
Yes, Harry Connick, Morgan Freeman, Chris Christopherson, the judge, and I think the main character saves the dolphin. And both movies are basically true story. Both movies have the kind of vibe of a Christian film. And I'm not saying that all things that are not under the label of Christian are good. You can still take a message from things that are secular, because whether they are aware of it or not, they crossed over into a biblical principle. And that's exactly what Dolphins do. That's why you feel so good watching that movie, because you are treading upon territory.
So there you are. You're doing that size of that project that you
I don't know either or not. I mean, I'm
Now we got Miracle on the
precipice. Yeah.
What's the difference in doing a movie like that as a believer versus movies that
Well, I can't speak for all the people who said it twice. They were incredible. I don't want to ever come across them in disparagement, because that was an incredible sentiment. But I can say for a fact that everyone on set of Miracle was unified by their love of Christ, and knowing who they are in Christ, and knowing their identity in Christ, all the way down to craft service.
right?
Anything wrong about that? We all had this thing that unifies us, and that's our love for our believing in the gospel. The message that's in Miracle on the Precipice is for the non-believer or the believer who maybe relates to a little bit. We don't really talk about the prodigal son's brother a lot. It's more fun and flashy to talk about the prodigal son because we all kind of relate to that story. What about the believer that's been going at for decades? What happened to me?
If they is probably free,
I have to go back and remember how he pursued things.
This project, obviously, you're hoping that it's fight for friends, for neighbors, believers, unbelievers, and what would be the end that you're praying for?
great question.
They're very handy.
Honestly,
I work in the orphan radio station.
it was in my heart where I was playing at the time is Lord chose to what I mean by the Lord who isn't. I was thinking for one person who's ready to feel, whether they're invited or maybe they just randomly wanted to go see a movie in the center. And their heart was vulnerable enough and soft enough to receive
I don't know if
this
it's the same setup. That's why.
and only one person is able to give their life to it. Maybe not exactly like an altar call to command or whatever, but they feel like they're ready to take that step. They're pondering that it's just or maybe it's just a seed in their heart. That's who I was thinking of on this set. That's what I'm thinking of showing you person. Gives her life to you. Is now forever as a residency in heaven. All of it.
Right, that's all. Somebody that
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. Yeah, 100%.
again, it is the one.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Miracle on the. I knew nothing about it, but I know about it now.
I know that.
I have to
Exactly.
go back and watch Dolphin Tale.
Please do. Yeah. Go watch that.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Nathan.
Yeah,
Glad
it's
to
talking
meet
to you,
you.
Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Very wonderful.
Yeah.
That was a neat surprise on my day.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Robbie.
Where
That
do you
was awesome.
live?
I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. For the time being, I'm living in Las Vegas right now. Yeah, that's kind of where I was at.
Reach out, man. Go to a boot camp.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Go like Wild at Heart Down, whatever. They have a beautiful website. Those boot camps in Colorado, since it's closer to you, man. I am telling you,
They're a lot of fun, huh?
not just fun, but they have they call it the covenant of silence, where you have these talks and you get to hear John Eldridge, which he's amazing and all that stuff. And then you get to go spend time with God
Yeah.
with specific things. And again, when you hear from God, it's a lot different than hearing from people.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
that's the experience that
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. That was a lot of fun.
It really was.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Wow, did you know he's in a Dolphin's Tale, a bunch of neat movies.
Is it a what?
He's in the movie A Dolphin's Tale also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And apparently you are involved in that same project.
Miracle on the Precipice.
Yes. How are you? Robbie Delmore. Nice to meet you.
Robbie.
Your name is,
Nathan Todd Sims.
you're also a Nathan.
Yep, Nathan Todd.
And is that SELMS?
SIMS.
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 Nathan Thomas. All right. Here we go. We will keep these on. He saved Heather Nelson's show. So, where are you guys based? He was in Salem, North Carolina. Is where our headquarters is, but we have stations all over the country. Yeah, mostly in the southeast, Ohio.
Yeah, we were shooting Miracle between
And Lynchburg.
Yeah.
Right. Which they can work. See that big flag right there? He was Jerry Falwell's campus pastor for like 25 years, so he's all from Lynchburg.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all. And here we are in Dallas.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
Right here.
In Dallas.
Yeah.
In Grapevine.
Very much. Right here. Right, not in the basement.
All right. Very good. We get it going.
No, it's video too. That's on him
Well,
and
we
that's on.
are here at the National District Broadcasters Convention in Grapevine, and we have a Great Vinian here. He's the first Great Vinian I have interviewed since I've been here. Actually, Nathan Todd Sims, and the second person I get a chance to meet from this amazing project. You're going to see and hear a lot more about it. Miracle on the Precipice.
Yes.
So Nathan, tell us your role.
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk about the project. It's an awesome project. I'm actually the writer and the director of the
Oh,
film.
you're the writer.
Yes, I wrote the original script and then I directed the film as well.
How cool is that? To see, like, you had this vision, you wrote this screenplay. Was this your first screenplay?
No, I've been in the business for 35 years, so I'm pretty experienced in writing, but it's one of the things I love to do the most. This particular film, about a year and a half before we shot it, I started having some ideas about it, so we started coming. And that's when I sort of, started germinating, right? And then had the chance to put it down on paper and came down on paper. I thought, it's pretty good. Then had the opportunity to go ahead and get the shot.
It really is. And then obviously you got a star-filled cast. You got Kevin Sorbo, you got Nathan Gamble.
Yep.
And really cool. So we didn't talk a lot about the premise of the movie. So on the last interview, so how about that?
Yeah.
Since you obviously, God gave you the premise.
Absolutely. So the film is inspired by Pilgrim's Progress, but I wouldn't say it's a retelling of Pilgrim's Progress. It's inspiration from Pilgrim's Progress. It's a modern day allegory, and it's a family who has become disconnected. They're having some struggles. Dad's out of work. Dad's name is Trudy. The mom is overworked, and her name is Grace. The daughter, who's a selfish daughter, named Charity. And then there's the son, who's a rebellious teenage son named Christian. So you've got these families with these allegorical names. And then the dad decides, hey, we need to go on a camping trip, try to reconnect. So let's go out, we're going to be camping, get everybody back together, and then, but the very first day of their trip, they go on a hike, and then tragedy strikes. And then all of a sudden, their whole world starts to feel like it's coming apart. And then it's an action film, it's a fun film, it's very entertaining to watch, but it has a very strong message about, what is the path of a Christian? What is the walk that we walk? What is it all about? And we get to experience that through these characters as they go and they evolve, and they basically live up to their names, right? So
I'm actually, I do a radio program called the Christian Program.
okay.
And we completely did a Pilgrim's Progress as
Okay. Oh, really? Nice. I'd love to see that.
It's all on radio, and I got it's like the old timey drum.
Okay, right.
And yeah, it is awesome, and I really, we got to spend some time in this mud, the spawn, and that whole thing. So we used it as much as I could possibly steal from John Bunyan.
Right.
So the idea of this has been just delightful in my heart, in my mind, and so obviously the character Christian is in John Bunyan's heart, kind of himself.
Right. Exactly.
And so I can't help but ask you, Nathan Todd, are we feeling that to an extent through a year on the precipice?
It's a great question. And the answer is yes. When I went to write this, I thought, I'm going to write this with my love letter to God. And I think it's a reflection of the struggles of life and the things that we go through and unexpected things that come out of nowhere that we're wrestling with, right? And yet, God is always there, right? The more we let go of ourselves, the more we let go of the situations around us, the more we allow God to be in control, the better things become, right? And so our life has been such a blessing in so many ways, but the struggles have been real. And sometimes those struggles are not necessarily from your own sin. Sometimes those struggles are because God's taking you to something for a purpose, maybe even for another person. And that plays out in the script as well. With some of this adventure that they're going through is actually for the benefit of another person. They run into these bad guys in the woods, they run into that's on his life. But it's a very adventurous moment when all of a sudden Christian realizes maybe there's more to what's going on in this spectrum. And now maybe God's using it for things. You think about Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all your heart. With all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Whatever our understanding is, when we're leaning on our own understanding, we don't understand it. Right? We have to lean on His understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and then what? He will direct your path. This is all about the path through the wilderness experience that a lot of Christians, I think, would relate to in a lot of ways. So we're creating it in a way that makes it very fun to watch, adventure film, fun, entertaining. I think that people are going to walk out of the theater and what else? You know, a day later, and really
Right, and as I'm hearing this, Kevin Sorbo, I'm assuming, is the dad. He plays a great dad. And I don't know. Those who, no, he doesn't play the dad.
No, it's actually a Jim Chandler.
Okay.
So Jim and Jen Godson. I don't know but Jim and Jen Godson did Harper's Bell, a bunch of other movies. So they're the ones that wonderful actor, incredible testimony. And then Nathan's their son.
Right.
Richmond, down in Florida, and then they've got some as well out in Utah.
But then Kevin plays a very key role. I'm not going to give much away about it, but he plays a very key, important role in the film and in the outcome of the film. So it's a very critical role that he plays. And then we also have Sean Patrick Flannery, who played Nefarious last year. But Sean Patrick also plays the other side of Kevin Sorbo. These are the two protagonists.
So I would imagine, like me, like you wrote the script, and then and you're gifted, obviously, in order to do that. You're obviously gifted in doing that. But then you watch all that in the hands of a real actor, like somebody that's gifted in that, and then you went, oh. Can you share what it's like as an experience as a writer to see an actor take a line? You had no idea what it had in store until you actually saw it acted.
I mean, as a writer yourself, right? So I'm writing the script, and you're imagining while you're writing, you're imagining everything that would be in your mind what is perfect, right? Like you're imagining, like this is how this has to be to work. It has to be this perfection. And a lot of times, or sometimes, you put that in the hand of actors. Sometimes as a writer, you're like, well, that was good, but that's not really what I imagined it being, right? But maybe the budget, maybe the struggle, the schedule, things are dictating some of these things. And when you work with guys like Kevin Sorbo, and then he takes your words, and delivers those words, and you're like, wait a second, that's better than I had ever imagined it could be. I don't even know how you just did that. And then Nathan Damon, an incredible actor, there's a real critical scene that I think is the type of scene in faith-based movies that oftentimes fails. This is a very difficult scene, the prayer scene, this type of scene. And yet, I knew when I was writing it, I was like, this would be a perfect way to do this. It's very like that's always Nathan goes off and doing the scene, and we would shoot it, and we shoot for a take, and I literally, I literally had to take several minutes and pull myself back together because he did it in such a way I couldn't have even imagined him doing it this way. To my mind, as a writer, as a director, I don't absolutely.
What it's got to come off that this is real.
Right. Exactly.
And this person actually is talking.
Right.
The prayers don't come off that way, unfortunately.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I think because of this faith is real, this conversion is real. He's done a ton of movies before his conversion. That when he got to that part of the story, that he was right and pulled it off.
So, man, I know one person the movie's coming out when?
We're not sure yet. We don't have a distribution set up yet, but we did that on purpose because we want to finish the film. We're here at NRB really promoting just that we've got it coming out. I've had some great meetings this week with some great friends like Ted Baer, who I've known for years, about the direction we're taking with the film. And I think that we've had a great, just a great combination of different meetings to really get a better idea. Because, like I said, we've operated in the secular world a lot. We've got a series on Discovery Channel and things like this, but we want this to be our love letter to God, as I mentioned. And if we wanted to be seen by the kids, this audience, and people really embrace it, I think it's going to really change lives.
We need a miracle of distribution for here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is sort of but
thank you so much for taking the time.
So have you before you take those off. So do you know Joe Knox? He was the producer of Unplanned. He was the producer of I Can Only Imagine. And what I'd say he's a producer. He's the guy that got the money. He's been in this booth. He works with us. We've never okay. If there's a guy you need to talk to. If you got a car, I'm going to see him here in the next 4 minutes. I'm like, dude, man, these people, what he's always looking for is a story. And I don't know how he does what he does. He knows everything. However he got it done, but it's like, you remember the movie I'm playing, and it's pretty bad, right? And somehow they got it from the guy like and same thing with I Can Only Imagine. Like he had the stories. They went out and sold it to Sony or whoever they did it. And it was huge. So you guys, I will make sure he gets your card and hopefully he can. I love your card. I love it.
So my mobile number's on there. So I'm around. So if you run into him,
he's going to be
down here. I'll just
maybe sitting down. As soon as I get this headset off, gotta save your file.
That's good.
Now we're gonna do some more of this. We actually released a movie.
Yeah.
I've helped a lot of movies on because I have a lot of radio shows, and I understand we got to get people out.
Right. I'd still love to hear your Pilgrim's Progress show.
Oh, that's in there.
That would be fun.
They got a Christian car guy. There's actually a Christian car guy theater podcast.
Okay.
And they're all there.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna hook you up. Or you're my daughter.
Cool. Okay. Am I going to be on video where I take me to take a selfie?
You are. As soon as you sit down, you're live.
Yeah. Okay, great. Move the phone. And the glasses here. Okay. I told her I would mess with her and say I helped sell pantyhose all across the country.
If you got a card,
I do, yes. In fact, I headed out. There you go.
there it is.
So the last name, which is okay if you don't get right, it's Geraci.
Geraci?
Yeah, but I have like 60
I would
last
not have
names.
gotten it. It would have been Gerasi for sure.
Yeah, that's
But
the
it's
most
Geraci.
common. What was your name?
Daniel.
Yes, Daniel.
My name's Robbie.
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 Okay.
George.
Okay.
So we will welcome that breakfast to somebody. All right, whenever you're ready.
Sure.
All right. Well, it is the afternoon, the second day of our National Broadcasters Convention, and have fun. That we get to meet so many neat people, so many different neat things that God is doing around the world. Actually, we've heard, and now we have somebody new. He's got a beautiful United in Crisis. Wow, that sounds like a good. Daniel Geraci. And Daniel, so yeah. It's amazing what a common enemy will do. It will unite. So what is United in Crisis?
Well, United in Crisis is a global training organization that helps train the leaders to form crisis response church networks in their community to rally and train Christians to prepare them for crisis response. Ultimately, the Good Samaritan of their community, and to help those that are really seeing, a lot of tragedy at that time in their lives, lead the church to reveal the goodness of God.
That's a big.
That's a lot there.
So, how has God tested that?
Well, we have been an organization for 15 years, or this model has been untested for 15 years. It started with the Austin Disaster Relief Network. It's a network that the Lord had me launch in the greater Austin area. It grew to well over 200 churches on the network and trained well over 10,000 Christian volunteers to mobilize it's still going, but over a 14-year period when I was there, we helped assist nearly 500,000 people in times of crisis, not only disaster, but other types of crises. But mostly predominantly because Austin just had a lot of disasters in that season. 16 total major disasters, 3 of them catastrophic, 7 historic. And it was a beautiful thing to see the church work together, respond together, be trained together, shepherd or walk with kids until they were back on their feet, and bringing the good news. And the goodness of God was on trial in many of those lives, folks that were impacted by crisis.
Wow. So, were you in ministry in Austin at the time?
Yeah, so I was the executive director for the Austin Disaster Relief.
Before the disaster, it was
No, well, so this is how it started. So 2005, Katrina hit the Gulf. It sent 6,000 individuals to the greater Austin area. Austin had never seen behind this sun where all these people that have need. In the midst of hell breathing mountains as a citizen, the Lord downloads a vision about a crisis response church network model. I shared it with the leaders, Christian leaders in the community. They said, this really feels like God. Let's do it. The timing wasn't right. and the Lord had me wait till 2009. That's when we launched it. Prior to us launching, for the last 110 years, there was 9 major disasters in the Great Awesome Area. When we launched, we had 16, 14 years. So it's not building where we come. God so loves people that He will have His church ready when crisis strikes, and that's what happens. God's story really touched the lives of people in this church.
It does that in crisis. It does. And it keeps you from the crisis, but it stays you through it. One of the first interviews I ever did on the radio was right after the war. One of the anyway, I was interviewing a pastor from Lebanon, and he was talking about, he said, before the invasion of Hamas or whoever came across the border, he said, we had Catholics over here, we had Lutherans, we had Baptists, and everybody had some kind of label involved in who they were. Until they started pouring over the border, and when they started coming into our city, the Catholic Church had the highest level. And here we all were. And all of a sudden it didn't matter that guy was Lutheran. It didn't matter if he was Baptist. What happened was a common enemy, right?
Yes.
Whether that was a hurricane,
Yes.
or Austin's known for its floods and all its things that have happened over the years, and all of a sudden loving one another becomes more important than how in the world they feel on predestination.
Yes. Well, I know it's all thrown out. And, I've been in so many scenarios where they weren't ready. They did that. They said, you'll never allow this to happen again. It's a shame a disaster to pull us together. But we need to do this together. And it's unfortunate. The Lord will have His way, but it's a shame that it takes a crisis to pull us together. Because what's happened over in society is that the church is advocating the role of the Samaritan government. So we can the Good Samaritan community. We're by the priests, watching people go to the government and teach them programs and all the programs. You go back 50 years ago, the church did all the poor, the orphans, the universities, the schools, everyone, the church ran everything. And so, yes, our hope is to help cities that we lost and give them the church, give them the tools, give them the people, if they get funded into this, it's what happens. People are not even Christians, well, I can't say the ones that are doing this, they're very well known, but they have given into the body of Christ, to the Spirit, to Christ's actions. Well, they're living a Christian lifestyle. It's that I've never seen anything like this. The ultimate sets the stage for the church to be the hero of the community. And that's really the role of the representative, to help the church reveal His nature.
Yeah, we were talking about the name of the church. A good friend of mine, he said, Robbie, I always dreamed that someday God would give me an opportunity to name a church. And he lives in King, North Carolina. And he said, if I was going to start a church here in King, I would call it King Church. Because the word church should indicate all that other stuff to begin with. That it's just the word church. It's like, okay, of course grace, of course community, of course Bible, of course all those things, right? The Good Samaritan, the Good Samaritan, the Big Brother, all of us, right? We are, and it is, and so how can, like, you're a leader in your sphere, whatever that means, your community. What should I do as far as united in Christ? How do we get signed up, what's the next step?
Sure. So you can go to unitedincrisis.org. If someone's listening to this, and maybe you just you know your pastor well, you say, Pastor, I heard this guy talk about forming Christ Church. That's the website to go to. What we do is we'll walk with those new networks from loved ones. We'll help them fulfill this. Have done is we help raise up 22 other networks, and even now one in South Africa that's just exploding out there. The church doing so well. We will help
Have you met Jamie?
and all ready to go. Almost like, if you were going to launch a McDonald's, you go to Burger
It was
University.
franchise.
Yeah.
United Church is franchise.
But yeah, it's not. They're going to form their own network, their own community, their own 501c3. We'll just walk along with them and help them thrive. And ultimately,
Wisconsin side.
yeah, and we do have a book called United in Crisis, which is the God stories, not the stories of what God did in Austin, many stories of it. So it's been a scientific model, which Austin being the second most city in the nation. One could say if it happened in Austin, it would happen anywhere. Where ultimately, Austin, we had to see that the emergency
I don't think it
operations.
happens.
Yeah. As you know, we're joking here, but our father committed.
Oh, yes, he would.
Okay, well, right.
He will if it starts shaking enough in San Francisco, fires come, whatever it may be. But all of a sudden,
Everything is about NASA.
what an amazing thing. The United in Crisis.
Yes. God bless you. For God's stories, go to the website, unitedincrisis.com. It's really the best part.
Keep up the great work. Get up there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love it.
Absolutely.
Good job.
It's nice to go past just yes, it is. Everyone I'm talking to seems like it's in North Carolina. We're about to launch United Crisis Action. We're working in some bumps on the road with that's embraced the mindset of good work with them. If you know, you probably have a church or a pastor, and you are a pastor, I would love to connect with churches out there. I'll be able
Yeah, this is Randolph County is where my church is Sunday. We are not a Baptist church. However, I know that the Baptist mission already are doing a bunch of stuff up there throughout the year in Randolph. They're sending teams from churches all across Randolph.
And they were Baptist churches were all over the church movement. But we need to pull the church together and shepherd families, bring people out of crisis, and begin taking other things crisis in the community. So the rooftops and the months now, that you can still stay with the Baptists, but there's a lot of people that can't do that. They don't have good legs or don't have right. So there's opportunities. So the Baptists are huge to building up our disaster response network in many of those cities. And
You got.
I love if you can pass our info to a pastor. Leave it up to the Lord to do. Our job is to pull it off of their hands, help raise up somebody in their church to be that kind of coordinator for their church. Because a lot of times the pastors, they got too much on their plate already. You don't want another thing on your plate. Anyway, God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you. Hey.
May the Lord keep your voice strong.
Thank you.
You're going to go in the interview after the interview.
Right. Thank you very much. Hi there.
How are you?
I am worn out. How are
I
you?
haven't seen you in a year.
I know you. I didn't get a reservation in with you last year, so
You did this year.
I did.
Good.
I'm
Good
going
for
to
you.
sit down if that's okay with
Please
you.
do. I am as well.
My feet are not happy with you.
No, they
Or my feet are not happy with me. I'm sorry. I'm not tired of it.
I understand. I understand. So,
Which ones of these am I doing?
yes,
How are things with you?
they are wonderful. This is all sorts of neat stuff going on. You may be the last of the So, I'm sure you All right, it's day 2 of the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, and we have an old friend. She is out there writing more books on that. Her name is Lynn Eldridge. And Lynn, have you got a new book?
I do. I have the one I released last fall called Perceptions, Healing from Explored Ways We See God ourselves and others. It's on Bentley Transference.
Okay, good. I'd like to see.
We sometimes typically see a prevalence in the Bible for men. We saw her most beautiful and so issues. All, but I judge my So all of them make judgments. So don't let me go to the So anyone I ever met, Steve, met with the actors. We see that prevalent. All men, all Christians, all politicians, etc.
Yeah, video from the 70s on Bitterroot Judgments, but they made an illustration that I've always thought was spectacular. It's like you throw one golf ball, right? Especially at a parent, that you're going to read a gazette, whether you like it or not. In other words, in God's economy, if you plant one apple seed, you're going to get a whole bunch of apples, right? If you plant one, right, then you got, right. And so when you plant that one little judgment, oh my gosh, what you're bringing back upon yourself is phenomenal.
And especially when it has to do with dishonoring the mother and father.
Right.
So I know what video you're talking about.
You've seen it.
John Paul Seymour's been just
Exactly.
expectations. Filmed in Toronto. I've watched it 1,000 times. And the interesting thing is they say anytime ever in whatsoever it goes back to dishonor.
Right?
That's like a huge word.
It is.
What if I having financial problems or if I judge my mom or dad? Or both.
And so this new book is in a nonfiction.
Yes, I put it down in this.
Also, break all of those things through confession, forgiveness, repentance, and God forgive me for this. So I'm
So right after she is finished.
Therefore, I saw the whole people.
So I'm like, excited for another show.
It's like 50 years old.
We give him harder. So he can keep up with him.
Why don't you just learn to love her? She is like a 5-year-old. My That's amazing. But okay, what did I touch her for? She didn't. Give me
Running around.
Oh, I couldn't do it. Because I did the hard part. So, I was confessing forgiven for putting on the conveyance for about 2 weeks. So,
This is the same guy who had like 5
that's amazing. What it is that brought up reconciliation in our relationship. I didn't realize how so many people. And now that I see my mother, she says,
Yeah, and especially
That's you get for
because I can show you, you know it all too well, that this is whatever you want to call it, is not gay. I'm curious because you have such an understanding of this the end of the book is God's going to return the hearts of the children to the fathers, and the fathers to the children. So he's going to come back. That's not a big enough. Oh. So I wrote an article on that on the website. How did John the Baptist turn the hearts of the fathers? And that article is forever been. People actually go to read that every day. It's shocking to go to read that. Not that they find a whole lot of answers there, but what that tells you, they go there because they have the same question. Why can't I be reconciled? So all I'm saying in that is that there's such a need. It's absolutely phenomenal. So God comes out of your heart to write this book. Now what?
well, and that's the reason for we also I didn't know what to they were asking things. That explains a few things.
But it gets back to that idea of if you aren't feeling the fruit of the spirit, chances are it's fruit of yeah.
But you know, I think what's towards life and knowledge goes to that person.
Right, but it's a challenge thing. And obviously, this is near and dear to so many parents' heart. Again, this new book is called
Perceptions, distortions, the way we see God.
Perceptions, Distortions. The way we see ourselves and others. Again, Lynn Eldridge, don't miss this stuff. It's going to be awesome. You can just go to Amazon, by the way, Lynn Eldridge, and see all of what she has. Similar thing that she's had on her life. That's good. Right now, she would love for you to get it. Feedback on her.
This morning at 9 o'clock, I was in there.
Page when they were at Amazon.
Keep on right there. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Yes. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a spiritual principle that's real. If you believe it or not, that dishonor, who preaches on dishonoring your parents anymore? Oh, that comes back to bite you. Right?
It has me.
Oh, gosh, I got books about it. I got scars. But anyway, I'm grateful. Yeah, I knew what video you were talking about.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I've watched it.
I don't know how many times I've watched it. It's a great video.
Yes, and then he goes, and then you live with your beloved enemy. Because you'll see what you judge. Woohoo! How's that one for you?
Yeah, been there.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you
again,
so
Lynn.
much, Rob. Bless you. One more.
Really?
I'm going to be your last one, so
Hello, Captain.
nice to meet you. Hi, Barack.
Guy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Barack.
Yeah, this is your last one.
You
before
see,
the
he also put my name on his shirt.
I did.
There you go.
So, did we have? No, it's okay. Have a seat, guys.
What's the question?
Was it running behind? Is that what happened? I thought the last one was at 2:30. It is 2:30.
It is 2:30. Right now it's 2:30.
And I'm the last
Time
one.
perfect.
It's actually 2:28.
There you go. I'm pretty close, guys.
Oh, pretty busy. How
Yeah, I had it right to be in there. There you go. So what a beautiful uniform. Absolutely. What uniform is that?
26 years in the Israeli Army.
Oh, wonderful.
Was with that.
I've been saying 6 years. Last 2 years. 7. The first year of this war.
Well, as the NRB never ceases to surprise me, we are here today second day in, and God keeps sending me amazing people. And the guy is clearly very instrumental in the Israeli Navy, and now is the attaché to the United Nations here in New York.
No, I was the naval attaché
And so you're here at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, and you got a message for the church. It sounds like it. What would you like us to know?
First of all, I gotta say that it's a great since October 7th, is the lead us music business. To help our soldiers, hostages, so we'd like to send a message for those keep us in their hearts and souls. December
And she's going to teach me how to video.
together, fighting together, holding hands, supporting each other. We need to develop.
Yes, the God is going to prevail, obviously, and his people, right? It's sort of a gigantically huge issue, and really, for such a time as this, almost everybody, in fact, everybody listening to my voice has an opportunity to pray what God would have us to pray, right? He would bless them and keep them and make his face shine upon them and be gracious and good, right? And lift his countenance and give them peace, shalom. Amazing stuff. I can't help but, as I see the sitting here guy, I have a dear friend. His name is Yaniv Shinit, and he was in the Israeli Navy and fought in the war in 1967. And he got the Israeli, whatever it was called. There's a book that there's only like been 8 or 10 people who win this. That he was shot attacking he was in like a PT boat, and they shot him up, as the Arabs did, and he gave himself morphine, helped the other people in his boat, ended up helping sink this unbelievable miracle. When you think of Yaniv's story, it's like the story of the whole country. Like, here's a Goliath, this unbelievable Goliath that's coming against him on every border, and this little bitty boat.
I know we have so many stories. Seven fronts, fighting against various groups in Syria, Iraq, forcing Iran. Declared whichever independent and yet at the same time, the people leading themselves.
Yeah, you know that having done this a good while, I've had a chance to interview a lot of wonderful folks in Israel. And this idea that God is really after your enemies as much as anything, right? That he wants them to see who's real and who isn't.
As time goes by, you can see around those who doesn't consider or doesn't minerate will be against us.
Right. So, clearly God's put you in a very unique place. That He's given you this voice. I can't imagine being under sitting in front of my audience or whatever. But now, okay, Guy, you're going to speak to the United Nations. Like you're sitting there and you have this headset on. Like what goes through your mind in a moment like that?
That's actually, for so many years, operating as a naval officer, I've been Navy warfare. Now been sent to the diplomatic or something. The UN, right? I can share with you that when I've worked with my counterparts, the other military representatives from different countries around the world, we had a great appreciation for what they do. People, professionals in Brazil, we can find these problems. We share the same values, we cherish life, right? So the way we operate, we take population. It's even that might be like a surprise element more because we want to let people know that we're going to strike this area because we're going to do what's over there. And many times we're wasting our people's life because we want to go by our core values. This is something that never happened in any other conflict around the world. This is why the issue right now for terrorism never been this way. So I can share with you that even in the UN, the military level, very respectful for the every single way we operate. According to the political level, that's a different story. So many
Yes. From my perspective, what is God? God doesn't want innocent people kidnapped. God doesn't want innocent people killed. He doesn't want them killed or hurt on the other side. And that's the beautiful thing to me. If you guys send those messages and say, "Here we come, get out of the way. We do not want to hurt you."
It's the same kind. They basically their own people.
Right?
When you talk about values, and you see it's free. Still good. Trust me, they do. Now, people say, talk about the thing, they brought their family to watch and cheer. Our bodies playing this game. This is something I believe
No, some of the rocks are around. No way. And the war itself is the whole thing. So praise God that you guys, God has given you respect. God has given you the values. So God has given you that, and it is our honor, certainly in our village. I'm connected with. We all are praying for Israel. We all are wanting to support and really that you would come out and talk to us.
Thank you so much. Surely people supporting us. Many
Thank you. God bless. Like you never dreamed when you were a little kid. Like someday I'll be sitting at the end. Right?
I gotta tell you a story. We're not on record, so.
No, well, let me shut this off.